Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to the Operation Freedom platform and our continuation of I believe this is now our 20th segment as it relates to your nutritional well-being. Information that the bought-off lamestream fake media, which is essentially owned and operated by the insurance companies and big pharmaceutical companies, will not tell you. I'm honored to have back with me someone I consider a very dear friend and someone who I believe is the biggest expert in the world when it comes to not only naturopathic medicine, but health and wellness. And frankly, Dr. Peter Glidden and myself get a fair amount of blowback for speaking about these issues, about nutrition, and the fact that we do not discuss what the big pharmaceutical companies would prefer we discuss. Or for that matter, what the AMA would rather have us discuss, or the big insurance companies, or big government that gets all their money laundering lobbyist money from the big pharmaceutical companies in the insurance industry. We talk about what you can do to empower yourself through the use of nutritional supplements. And it's something that I learned basically nothing about throughout my training, throughout medical school, residency, fellowship. But the person on the other end of this interview, Dr. Peter Glidden, has given me the most profound education I could ever have when it comes to nutrition. A little background on Peter. He attended Williams College and then obtained his Bachelor of Science degree in pre-medical studies from the University of Massachusetts. He graduated from the Great Bastyr University in Seattle, Washington. He is a member of the American Association of Naturopathic Physicians. He has been practicing naturopathic medicine since 1992. He is licensed in naturopathic medicine. And he is an incredible clinician, as you will see from a number of the comments in our previous YouTubes of his patients and former patients, really speaking about how Dr. Glidden changed their lives by his knowledge base as it relates to nutrition and wellness and nutritional supplements. He is also a phenomenal author. His books should be the cornerstone of your medical library. They are of ours and our family. Everybody is Sick and I Know Why, An Attempt to Cure with Holistic Medicine, both available on Amazon. Peter, welcome back to Operation Freedom and the Operation Freedom platform.
Thanks a lot, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here. If people only knew a tenth of, or were able to see a tenth of what myself and my colleagues have seen regarding positive health outcomes from this approach, there would be a rush here. We wouldn't be able to complete all the orders. The servers would crash, because this is not a panacea for all human ills, but it is next generation, science-based, clinically verified, very effective naturopathic medical therapeutics. And it's based upon the fundamental philosophy which separates us from everybody else. The fundamental philosophy that the human body is endowed with a spiritual intelligence. Our bodies are so smart, they grew themselves all by themselves, right, from a single cell, managing millions of biochemical processes beyond our conscious control. Naturopathic philosophy argues that it's the naturopathic doctor's job, the doctor's job, right? Doesn't matter what the discipline is, to develop therapeutics that support and promote the body's built-in God-given ability to fix itself. I have the easiest job in the world, because that's all that I do, right? You cut your finger, you don't have to tell your body what to do to fix it. It does it automatically. You just have to keep it clean, put a bandage around it, for goodness sakes. So this is really where the rubber hits the road. Your body knows how to fix itself. It wants to fix itself. Mm-hmm. It's trying to fix itself, but it needs a little bit of help, right? We need to put on clothes to protect ourselves from the elements. We need to eat calories and drink water. We need to keep the body clean. We need to pee upstream and not drink downstream, right? Mm-hmm. All these things that we need to do. Well, part of those things which are necessary, mandatory for human health, is that the type of food that you're eating, what food are you eating? Is it good or is it bad for the human body? And does your body have the raw materials that it needs to fix itself? And because of the monopolization of the medical marketplace, which most people are completely unaware of, I'm here to tell you that it's a sad state of affairs, because most of the foods that people have been educated are good for them, and most of the foods that people just automatically go to because of the way that they've been brought up are bad. It's the wrong food for the human body, and that was done on purpose. And you could own 100 acres of the most organic farmland on planet Earth, only eat the stuff that you grew, and you would still be deficient in essential vitamins and minerals and amino acids, because some of that stuff is in the food, but not all of it.
Right.
And because of that, right, it's only a matter of time until your body runs out of what it needs, and then things start to break. Then you go to a conventionally trained medical doctor and you're given a drug, the intention of which is not to fix the problem, but just to manage it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, thank God for Novocaine and the sterile technique and insulin, right? Mm-hmm. There's room in the world for everything, but we don't have a free medical market, and nobody knows the simple stuff that myself and my colleagues have been shouting from the rooftops for the last 50 years. So, you know, I'm very, very, very fortunate and appreciative of your continued support of what myself and my colleagues are up to in this platform, because the more people that are shown our message and wake up to it, the better the world's going to be.
I completely agree, Peter. In fact, we've tried to make it as easy as possible for folks as far as a reference center. We have the website operationfreedomhealth.com, where we feature the video you produced called The 12 Bad Foods. We have all of the 20 now episodes that you and I have done on various conditions, various situations, nutritional supplements. And then we also have the products available on operationfreedomhealth.com that we discuss. And the reason why we do that is because if we outline a solution for folks and then we say, well, best of luck trying to find what we've just discussed, we're really not doing folks a service. So we have the products available, and full disclosure, purchase of the products on operationfreedomhealth.com does support this platform. But we also provided an added benefit with our healthcare team that's also associated with operationfreedomhealth.com to answer folks' questions by phone, by email, and the like. And that's something I know other sites, if you will, don't do. We want it as educational a process as possible, and a long-term process. Now, one of the things we do, Peter, is we take the information that folks provide us, our viewers, our listeners, and some questions and some topics that they want discussed. And today we want to discuss, because this is at our listeners' request, a lot of folks have voiced concerns about them having night sweats and restless leg syndrome, or restless legs. And let's address this from a purely nutritional approach, because this is the key, I believe. Peter, your take on these two conditions.
Well, okay, so when the body's in a state of health, it's referred to as being symptom-free. And this is an interesting thing to talk about, right? Health, it would be important, don't you think, for a doctor or a healthcare practitioner to be able to have a working definition of health? I mean, I think that's kind of a pretty important thing.
Agree.
So from our point of view, health is the ability of a living organism to experience stress and remain symptom-free in a state of dynamic equilibrium. So when your body is healthy and firing on all cylinders, then everything works the way that nature and God intended it to, and you don't have a symptom. But when you experience a stress and it's too much for the system to handle and the body's pushed off balance a little bit, it generates a symptom as a compensating mechanism. Now, conventionally trained medical doctors are trained to develop therapeutics which suppress the symptom. Right? But the body's still in a state of imbalance.
Correct.
And the symptom was a compensatory thing. So when you remove the symptom, the system's going to fall further off balance and develop another symptom somewhere else. So in all regards, we view the presence of a symptom as an imbalance in the human body. Mm-hmm. And the idea here is to generate a therapy not that suppresses the symptom, but which pushes the system back into a state of balance. Because when the system recovers its balance, the symptom automatically disappears.
Goes away.
All right. So we don't treat disease. It's interesting to talk about. We attempt to bring people into a state of health.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a giant difference between those two things. So when we see symptomology, the first thing to consider, and then there's always a number of things that are in kind of the diagnostic hierarchy, but the first thing to consider with restless leg syndrome, is that it's not enough calcium and not enough magnesium.
Okay.
That your body has simply run out of the minerals, in this case, the nutrients which are necessary to ensure proper muscular contraction and relaxation. When your body doesn't have the right balance, especially of calcium and magnesium, then the electrical signals to the muscles get a little wonky.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you experience this mostly at night when you're lying down because, well, nothing else is happening in the body. Your body has settled down. It doesn't need energy to digest or to move around. The heartbeat has slowed down. Your mental activity has slowed down. So you're kind of more aware of things that are happening in the body. And when your muscles are at rest, if they don't have enough calcium and magnesium, you're going to get a sense of anxiety in your legs. And that's the best way to describe it. It's like a sense of anxiety, like you just got to move, man. You know, what's wrong? I just got to move. Or you'll get twitches or tics or Charlie horses, cramps in the muscles in your legs now. And it has nothing to do with anything other than not enough calcium and not enough magnesium, period. And an incorrect balance of those two. And it's really, 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 really easy to become deficient in things.
Mm-hmm.
It's really pretty hard to have an excess of things, especially nutrients, because especially with essential nutrients, if you have too much of something, you put too much of something down the hatch, the body's going to eliminate it. It's going to get rid of it.
Right.
You'd be hard-pressed to take too much calcium or magnesium in the body. Quite frankly, I don't think it would be humanly possible unless it was an IV drip or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, not enough calcium, not enough magnesium is the basic understanding here for restless leg syndrome. Now, why does it only happen in the legs? Nobody knows. I wish I knew why it only happened in the legs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. However, there's an interesting observation that the homeopathic doctors have made over time, or watching patients respond to treatments for centuries with holistic treatments. There's something called Herring's Law of Cure. And Herring's Law of Cure is the observation that when the body experiences a curative treatment,
mm-hmm.
when a patient experiences a treatment, the intention of which is to push it back into a state of balance,
mm-hmm.
as the body recovers balance,
mm-hmm.
the symptomology tends to disappear from the top of the body to the bottom of the body, and from the inside of the body to the outside of the body. So if you've got a headache and you've got arthritic knees, the headache is going to get better first, and then the arthritic knees are going to get better second, because the body just heals itself in that direction. Don't know why. Why does the sun come up in the east and go down in the west? It's just the way that it is. So I think that the restless leg thing is an indication that, so in the symptomology, right, therefore goes in the reverse order. And the Chinese medical doctors will tell you that as you get older, the legs are the first things to go.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're over 50 years old and you want to feel a little bit better, when you go to the gym, spend more time with your legs than with any other part of your body. Because when your legs are strong and healthy, the older that you get, the better life in general is for you. But I think that the legs start to develop this symptomology, right? It's called restless legs, not restless arms, right. Not restless neck or restless right. back, restless legs. Because the body's reached a breaking point, and that's what goes first, right?
Got it.
And if you were to leave that unaddressed or just manage it, right, with drugs or whatever, the symptomology would eventually progress and move up into the whole body. You have restless, your whole flipping body would feel the same way that your legs do within a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So our whole thing, and the reason that we get results when other people don't, well-intended people, right,
mm-hmm.
don't, is because our view is patently holistic. So there are 90 essential nutrients that the body needs, not just calcium and magnesium. Those are 2,
right?
But there's 88 other nutrients that your body needs. And so rather than just giving you boatloads of calcium and magnesium, we say, look, well, you better take the foundation pack, which contains all 90 essential nutrients, and then a little bit of extra calcium and magnesium.
Okay.
That's how we deal with the restless leg syndrome. I love treating this because and I'm making numbers up here, but I'm going to say over 90% of the people that suffer from this, it's gone within 3 weeks.
So someone has restless legs. They take the foundation pack, which we have listed on OperationFreedomHealth.com, which consists of the 90 essential nutrients right there for folks. So they take the foundation pack, and then what do they do with the calcium magnesium then?
1 extra bottle of Beyond OsteoFX, because that has calcium and magnesium in it.
Perfect.
You're already getting one of those in the foundation pack.
Yep.
Just take an extra one, and just take an extra ounce a day. Preferably before bed is the best time, I think, to take the calcium supplement,
mm-hmm.
the Beyond OsteoFX. And I like to put it in a little bit of fresh squeezed orange juice.
Mm.
That's not mandatory, but number 1, it tastes better, and number 2, the acidity of the orange juice helps your body to digest it and assimilate it faster. So I like to take my liquid calcium supplement immediately before bed. And if you're suffering with restless legs, which most of the time happen at night in bed, that's not a bad strategy. But that's it. It's the foundation pack plus 1 extra bottle of the Beyond OsteoFX, and you take that until the restless legs disappear. Then I would keep taking that for a couple of weeks. I would keep taking the therapeutic dose for a couple of weeks before you back off to the maintenance dose.
And the maintenance dose would be the foundation pack.
Just the foundation pack. Yeah.
And the foundation pack is specific for what we do at OperationFreedomHealth.com.
Oh, 100%.
Exclusive.
So the company that we're advocates of has a number of distributors all around the world, and they've got their national headquarters in San Diego. But at Operation Freedom Health, we have cobbled together a number of these products, a number of their products in a specific combination based on my recommendations to give our people way more bang for their buck. And in this regard, a little bit of knowledge goes a long, long way, man.
So now let's tackle night sweats, because that was the other issue raised.
It's interesting that I would never have thought, right, that night sweats would be a thing that a majority of people would have questions about or would be experiencing. I could understand the restless leg thing because it's real. It's super easy to become deficient in minerals. Right. I mean, it's super easy. And, the legs go first, right, the older that you get. Mm-hmm. So, but night sweats, that was an interesting one to me, and I never would have guessed it. So, again, in the diagnostic cavalcade, if you're a man and you're experiencing night sweats, 5 will get you 10 that you have an infection that your body's fighting off. Mm. Because remember, the body knows how to fix itself. The body wants to fix itself. The body has mechanisms that it uses to fix itself, but it needs support for those mechanisms. So when the body is fighting off something, right, a parasite or a bacteria or a virus or whatever it is, it increases its inner temperature in an attempt to kill the bug, to burn it out, quite frankly, because, the bugs can only live in a certain temperature range. It gets a little too high or a little too low, the bug's going to die. Mm-hmm. So the body increases its temperature in order to kill stuff. And this happens mostly at night in bed because the body's a closed system. There's only so much energy available to it at any moment in time. And at night in bed, there's lots and lots and lots of energy available to the body because you're not eating, you're not digesting, you're not thinking, you're not walking, you're not talking, right? Everything has shut way down. So the body's got all this extra energy that it uses to repair itself. Mm-hmm. This is also the reason why when people get sick with a cold or the flu or something, they get really tired because the body's trying to make you go to sleep, because when you're asleep, it's much more efficient at fixing itself.
Mm-hmm.
So the temperature rises when you're asleep because it's much easier for the body to do that when you're asleep because it's got all this extra energy. So if you're a man and you're getting night sweats, then the first thing to consider is that you're fighting off some infection. So it would be the Foundation Nutrients plus Longevity's Killer Biotic. I really like that product. Or the Good Herbs antimicrobial support. If you're going to do the Killer Biotic, I would do 2 to 3 capsules with food 3 to 4 times a day. 2 to 3 caps with food 3 to 4 times a day. If you're going to do the antimicrobial support, I would do 4 milliliters 4 times a day. 4 milliliters 4 times a day of the antiparasitic support. And within 7 and also decrease your sugar intake, right? So no more sweets, no more candy, no more ice cream, no more anything that has extra sugar added to it. And increase your protein. Because here's a fun fact, no one tell, a water cooler fun fact. Your immune system is made from protein. That's what it's made from.
Mm-hmm.
So when your immune system's working overtime, because it's fighting something off, it needs more protein. So, that's why chicken soup, right, is called the Jewish antibiotic, right? So because it's super easy to absorb protein.
Right.
So eat more protein, decrease your sugar, take the Killer Biotic or the antimicrobial support, and bada bing, bada boom.
And Peter, if people take the antimicrobial support from Good Herbs, which is a fantastic company that has fantastic products, also available on OperationFreedomHealth.com, do they dilute that in water or do they take it straight? I mean, it's pretty. It's pretty strong, just straight up.
It's medicine.
Yeah.
Right. You got to take your medicine. So the Good Herbs, we might want to devote a whole segment to the Good Herbs stuff, but the Good Herbs are manufactured in 200 proof alcohol because that's the best way to pull out all of the active ingredients from the plants.
Right.
Number one. And number two, the alcohol actually acts as a carrier for the plant constituents once they're in the body. So the alcohol that's in the stuff that makes it taste so, what's the word?
Potent.
Yeah, potent.
Potent,
really super
right?
potent.
Yeah.
Then you add the alcohol taste to, the often bitterness associated with the herbs, and it's like, so what I recommend, it doesn't matter what you do as long as you don't pour the Good Herbs off. Let it sit in a shot glass on the countertop so the alcohol
evaporates. Yeah.
A lot of people do that. They shouldn't do that because the alcohol is good for you. It's necessary. But if the taste is too strong, you still have to take the 4 milliliter dose.
Yeah.
But you can add juice or water or whatever you want.
You can dilute it any way you wish, but just take it right out of the bottle.
Yeah, if you can handle it, you take it right out of the bottle. If it's too much, then you can dilute it with anything, but you still have to take the right amount.
Yeah,
right? And I think that's kind of an important thing to talk about, because then this is one of the problems with holistic medicine.
Yeah.
Because often the stuff doesn't taste good, or people don't like the taste. And if you don't like the way that something tastes, you're probably going to think up excuses to not take it.
True.
Right?
True.
So it's important, especially with the Good Herbs stuff, to figure out a little cocktail that's palatable for you and throw it down the hatch. Now,
you mentioned night sweats if you're a male. Yeah. Night sweats female.
Yeah, so again, on the diagnostic cascade, the first thing to consider if you're a man is it's an infection. Yeah. First thing to consider if you're a woman is it's a hormonal imbalance. There are other things that can cause it, but the first thing to consider is it's a hormonal imbalance, especially if you're perimenopausal or postmenopausal. It's a hormonal imbalance. So what causes hormonal imbalances? Well, not enough raw materials for the body to make hormones. Well, what are hormones made out of? Wait for it.
Yep. Here we go.
Cholesterol.
Right.
It's crazy, right?
No,
all your
crazy.
hormones, sex hormones,
right?
They're made from cholesterol.
Yep.
So guess what happens when you're on a fat-free diet, exercising, like a marathoner, and taking a statin drug. You're going to drive your cholesterol into the flipping ditch.
Right.
So if you're a man, you're going to get erectile dysfunction because you can't make testosterone, and you're going to get low T, right, which is a new thing.
Right.
Or if you're a woman, you're going to get hot flushes for 5 years instead of 4 or 5 months like your grandmother. Not because you have a bad gene, but because you don't have enough cholesterol, quite frankly. So if you're a woman and you're getting hot flushes, perimenopausal, postmenopausal, then you need to seriously consider stopping your statin drugs. Everybody and their brother is on statin drugs. We've got a lot of information on the website about that. I'm of the opinion that there's no such thing as high cholesterol. A lot of books have been written by conventional MDs about this. It's very, very researched, but again, big pharma selling statins to the tune of $25 billion a year don't want to hear that.
No, they don't.
But nonetheless, right? So consider and then take action on getting off of your statin drugs because they're not necessary. Eat a diet that's high in cholesterol. And if you're a woman, I like to see total cholesterol be over 220. Now, here's an interesting thing, which I learned only recently, which is why it's called the practice of medicine, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the confounding factors, remember, the body knows how to have healthy hormones. You don't have to force the body's hormones in any way. The body knows how to do it, but the body needs raw materials to do it. Things have to be in balance in order for everything to work. So, if there is a superabundance of iron in your body and not enough copper, that will lead to funky, that's a medical term, funky cholesterol metabolism, which causes all kinds of bad things downstream. And it's a simple function of too much iron,
not enough
copper.
Got it.
So one of the easiest ways to get rid of iron excesses in the body is donate blood. Interesting. So if you're suffering from hot flushes, or quite frankly, if you have erectile dysfunction, if you're a guy, or low T, it could just be that you have too much iron in your body. So go to the blood bank, donate a pint of blood, and look to see how you feel the 7 days after you donate the pint of blood. If you feel better, then I'm correct, you had too much iron in your body. And then moving forward, you would just need to be careful of, not eating food that's been fortified with iron, and everything's been fortified with iron. And there are some other steps that you can take that we'll be talking about next year. But this is a good thing to do, right? So hot flushes, women, donate a pint of blood. Don't be afraid of cholesterol. Get off of statin drugs. And why don't we give you a little hormonal help with botanical medicine? And again, the Good Herbs to the rescue. Good Herbs product here that I love this. It's easy to remember. It's called the Good Herbs Female Hormone Support. 4 milliliters 3 times a day is a good place to start. 4 milliliters 3 times a day. Do that for 30 days. And here's the deal with the whole hot flush thing. If the Good Herbs protocol is effective, you're going to feel it inside of 21 days. If you take 4 milliliters 3 times a day for 21 days and you still have no change in the hot flushes, then we have to do something else. And the next thing to do would be to consider a therapeutic treatment that helps the liver. Because the liver is the organ in the body which is largely responsible for the balance of hormones in your body. Your liver's got to be happy for your hormones to be happy. And it's easy for your liver not to be happy just because of all the crap that's in the environment that eventually finds its way into the body and messes the liver up. But that's not the first thing to consider if you're a woman with hot flushes. The first thing to consider, not enough cholesterol.
Got it.
Too much iron, right? So that's how we handle it.
And as we've discussed in other videos, Peter, if folks are on medications, they need to consult with their treating physician, number one. Number two is that as they become more nutrified, as they take these products, they could well find that the medications that they're taking, they will have the benefit of having to reduce those dosages of their current medications because they are actually more nutrified and their body is becoming healthier. And again, that's something they will discuss. They will see with their physicians and discuss on how they can actually come off of the medications they're on that many people have been on for years that we've heard from. They say, yeah, I started taking these supplements. And next thing I know, I'm not having to take my other medicines. And I was able to wean those medicines down with the help of my treating physician. It's surprised, many people say, surprised my treating physician.
Yeah.
But
see, this is the we're like Christopher Columbus, right?
Yeah.
Coming to the new world. It's like everything's different.
Yeah.
Everything's new here. It's completely different. And most medical doctors, right? They're really well-intentioned people and they've got good hearts and they want to help people, but they don't know this. And remember, these are two almost diametrically opposed medical philosophies, right?
Yeah, true.
MD philosophy is that the body can't fix it. So when there's a symptom, you have to intervene with like a hostile pharmaceutical takeover of the metabolism of the body.
Mm-hmm.
You got to suppress symptoms and force the body in the way that the doctor thinks is best. That's one strategy. The holistic strategy is, well, no, you need to just give the body its due.
Mm-hmm. Keep
your fingers crossed and see if the body can fix itself.
Yeah, bring it back into balance.
Yeah.
That's
and so our goal, my goal for 32 years, in naturopathic practice has been to get my patients so healthy that they don't need their drugs.
That's it.
Which is a eureka moment. It's a hard thing for most medical doctors to even conceptualize that that's possible. But that's what we are attempting here. We don't always get there. Sometimes 25 or 50%, 75, sometimes 100%. But nonetheless, it's a point well taken. You should expect the drugs that you're taking, the pharmaceuticals that you're taking, to work better when your body is more nutrified.
Yes, true.
So you just have to develop a healthier relationship with your prescribing doctor, and they don't want you to. Most doctors would be happy if you were taking one med instead of 6.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
So if you work with these people in a kind of an open-minded collegiate fashion, then I think you might be surprised.
And one of the other foundations, folks, is what we talked about at the very beginning of this presentation. You want to have a reference to go to. And that's why we have the site, operationfreedomhealth.com. But it's also why Peter wrote the books. Everybody is sick, and I know why. An attempt to cure with holistic medicine. I don't think you could go wrong with the website as well as the books. It will give you more information as it relates to your health and your well-being than I think any other sources you can find. And Peter, I'd like to thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. You're an incredibly courageous healer of coming forward because, as I said, this is information that big pharmaceutical companies, big insurance, and big medicine do not want people to know about. And I'd like to wish you a happy new year. I look forward to what we delve into on this series in this coming year because I truly believe we have the opportunity to help hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, if they're willing to open their eyes, open their ears, and willing to investigate what we discuss. And again, we put all this information on operationfreedomhealth.com, including the products. Again, Peter, Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to all of our listeners. And until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.